So in 1995, General Sani Abacha ordered the execution of human rights activist Ken Saro-wiwa alongside 8 of his colleagues. They were hanged and executed for protesting against the environmental devastation caused by oil spill in Niger Delta. Their execution led to Nigerian suspension from Commonwealth for 3 years. So here is the story. Ken Saro-wiwa, born in 1941, was a Nigerian writer, television producer, environmental activist, and human rights advocate. He was best known for his leadership in the non-violent campaign against environmental degradation in Niger Delta. Saro-wiwa belonged to the Ogoni people. They were a group of people who protected the oil in Niger region against oil pollution in the 1990s. And it was the time when Niger Delta was targeted for crude oil extraction by big companies like Shell and Co., leading to environmental damage and pollution. The people of Niger Delta continued to face crises as oil spillage affected their food and environment. Meanwhile, the Nigerian government refused to take legal action against the foreign petroleum companies operating in the area, especially the Royal Dutch Shell Company, a company operating largely on the benefits of the Niger Delta oil. So in 1990, Saro-wiwa started to dedicate himself to solving the problem of the oil-producing region of the Niger Delta. He co-founded the movement of the survival of the Ogoni people (MOSOP) in 1990. The aim was to bring international attention to the environmental destruction in the Niger Delta region, and as well as the human rights abuse committed by the Nigerian government and the oil companies in the area. In general, he wanted the compensation for the people in Ogoni land. Ken Saro-wiwa became feared by government officials with his movement, and for the fact that he operated fearlessly during General Sani Abacha's regime made him more respected. Because Abacha on the other side is a no-joke man, the only head of state who was feared by journalists, activists, and anyone who spoke against his government. So for Saro-wiwa to have summoned the courage to intercept Abacha's government, he must have been a very courageous activist. In 1992, he was imprisoned for several months without trials by the Nigerian military government. Upon his release in January 1993, he organized a peaceful protest, and around 300,000 Ogoni people came out for the protest, more than half of the Ogoni population, through the 4 Ogoni urban centers, drawing international attention to their people's predicament. The same year, Abacha became head of state, and Nigeria became author. So in June of the same year, Saro-wiwa was again arrested and detained by the military police, but was released after a month. His influence in the Niger region alone was so effective that by the end of the year 1993, the oil companies began to pull out of Ogoni land one after the other. This time, Saro-wiwa was already stepping on their toes. He had become a threat in the eyes of both the government and the oil companies in Ogoni land. So in May 1994, 4 prominent Ogoni leaders were murdered. These leaders were critical of Saro-wiwa's leadership. Although Saro-wiwa was not present during the incident, but he was accused by the Nigerian government of being the mastermind